this work? Can everyone hear? Would you like to sit here or there? Give you your choice. All right, Jason.
I'm Ben from CoinDesk. This is Jeffrey from MeWe, and Jason from the Arena. Thanks all for being here. So Jeffrey, you're on Avalanche now, and you used to be on Polkadot, and previously you were a Web 2 startup. So just explain, why did you come to Avalanche recently? Just walk us through that decision.
So I go back to the days of MySpace. I was the chairman when MySpace was started. And we gave tools to everybody. It was all musical based. You could be an artist. You could do wonderful things on platform. And in conversations with Sir Tim Berners-Lee, I don't know if you know who he is, the British founder of World Wide Web, we talked about how social media was changing and how it had changed from the way we started it, what we wanted out of it, how things had been different now. And so MeWe was created sort of as an evolution of that. And when I came to MeWe several years ago, we looked around, and from the MySpace days, we got our clocks cleaned by Facebook. And we knew that we didn't have tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars to go ahead and spend on social media competing with the likes of that. And we're living in a world now with 600 channels, plus YouTubers and influencers and all sorts of other digital ways to get assets and content. So we decided to move over to the blockchain and become the largest decentralized network. Sorry, Jason. Decentralized network on the blockchain. We have 21 million users. We have 2 million of them signed up on chain right now. But to your point, Ben, originally we were on Ethereum. And then we moved over to Polkadot with Gavin, because Gavin told us Polkadot is the way to go.
It's Gavin Wood.
Gavin Wood, yeah. And then what happened from there was we found Avalanche as really a fantastic alternative to start getting into the multi-chain world. What we're doing on through frequency on the Polkadot chain is really just getting your universal login, getting your social graph so you can control and move around your own assets on chain. But what really is happening, the good stuff is happening on Avalanche. And that's where tokens, we have a token coming out called the Soshi coin, and we're going to be able to transact and do things on platform with that token. And Avalanche, really great people, John, Gun, and so forth, really supported what we were trying to do. And we'd rather be one of the bigger players in the blockchain world, which allows us to double down on the privacy concept of what we do, rather than be a small player that no one knows in the Web 2 world.
Great, thank you. So Jason, explain the Arena. It's a newer iteration on social media than Jeffrey's play here. Just explain what you do.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. That was great. Yeah, so with the Arena, we have a slightly different take. It's not purely decentralized social. We like to focus on the intersection of social and the financial aspect of crypto. It's called SocialFi, is the term that's been coined in the space. And we have sort of taken this to its fullest extent. So the main value proposition of the Arena is creators can monetize better on this platform than they can on existing or Web 2 social media platforms. Simply put, they earn more by doing certain actions, whether that's written content, being a stages host, live streaming, even being a founder and a token creator. You can earn more on this app than you can elsewhere. And we've been around for about 1.5 years. We've seen over $100 million transacted on this app, over $10 million paid out to content creators, not including airdrops, over 11 million tips. And people really love, on the financial side, the fact that every user has a digital wallet and they can receive crypto that is accessible 365, 24/7, anywhere in the world without a platform extracting from you and holding up your funds or anything like that. So really giving value back to the users and allowing people to monetize better.
So you're effectively tokenizing influence, is that right?
Yes, so one of our core products is the ticket model, where users can buy and sell access to other content creators. If you see one that is really active and an amazing creator, you could buy their ticket early and get access to a private chat room with them. Price goes up and down depending on how much they're bought or sold, and the creator earns fees. And we've seen a lot of success with this model. And as of 2 weeks ago, we launched Arena Launch, and now anyone can seamlessly launch a token using all of our built-in social tools as part of it.
Great. So we live in a world obviously dominated by Facebook and other massive platforms. What is your theory for adoption for these new ideas, and how do you compete with those other platforms?
Well, like I said earlier, the main reason why we moved over to the blockchain was to be one of the larger, if not the largest player on chain. Because we're, we'll say, stuck in the Web 2 world, trying to get adoption was really challenging for us. Because my first theory was, you're going to bring people over to the blockchain, and it's so complicated for mainstream. I go to these conferences all over the world, Copenhagen, Consensus here, Poland, wherever it is, and it's a very incestuous environment. You'll have 1,000 people, 2,000, 15,000 people, whatever it is, and they're all people that are very knowledgeable about wallets and crypto and so forth. And what has to happen is the education. I believed a lot early that the education process has to be, to get it adopted mainstream, regular people need to understand what it is to be on chain, to deal with wallets and crypto and so on. I've slightly modified that now, and now I believe it's more that we have to make it so transparent that when people come on chain, come into MeWe, it's an embedded wallet. It's not the situation where they have to be trained so much and educated so much on what crypto is all about. So that's one of the things that we're working on. Like I said earlier, the big superpower in MeWe is we have 750,000 groups. We're in 200 countries and territories all around the world, 17 languages. And because we have such a large user base, 21 million people coming in, that we are opened up. We have a test net up on Avalanche. We're going to have an L1 set up there. That's what we're working on. And we're open up to builders. And we want the builders to come into our world and avail themselves of these millions of users we have. And that's probably one of the most interesting aspects of coming from a Web 2 world to a Web 3 world, is trying to bring builders on board and availing themselves of our communities and our people. What you talked about, Jason, we don't have it in place now, but we will get to a place where we have our own Soshi coin, and that will be out probably in the next 4 or 5 months when we do our launch. That's the plan, and we'll be able to use that currency for tipping, creating NFTs in groups, content creators, etc. So we're excited about that, but you're ahead of us since you started in this world, which is great. But I look at what we're doing as more complementary than competitive.
So Jason, I mean, there are a few other decentralized social media platforms out there, Farcaster, Lens, etc., and they have a few thousand users, but it does seem to be still kind of in the Web3 echo chamber. How do we break out of that chamber and get to the real people out there?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think the space is still trying to figure it out. You have the more crypto native social apps, which I like to think Arena is. And then you have what Jeff is describing as like Web 2 social apps that are migrating over. I think the key, and something we've done very well, is we see like the average lifespan of these apps have tended to be like 3 to 6 months. We've managed to be around for 1.5 years so far and growing. And now the next step, the next challenge, to your point, is how do we expand the pie beyond just crypto natives? We've seen some of our recent features like live stream bring on, chefs that have 2 million subscribers on YouTube. Charlie XCX, different musicians have been streaming and earning tips, and that's been really effective. But it goes to a lot of what's been described around the ease of use. So allowing people to log in from existing social media platforms. Currently, you log into the Arena with X. We're adding Instagram and TikTok, so we don't narrow the funnel too much. Having an embedded wallet when they log in, so super easy. You don't need to know anything about crypto. It's built into the native experience. And at the end of the day, it's people doing things they're already familiar with, but seeing the value of, decentralized digital assets, the speculative nature of crypto, which people love, and the communal aspect. I think all of these are really important. So the products do need to get better, and they need to be on highly scalable blockchains like Avalanche.
Ben, so we got tired of listening to Mark Zuckerberg and people like that, Elon Musk, and the whole concept of centralized control of your data and information. Like, this is one of your individual rights, to control and own your information. Why should Facebook be able to monetize it, interrupt your feeds? Why should they be able to take your attention away from the people who want to hear from you and your communities? We don't think that's right. We don't think that's fair. So we joined something called Project Liberty with Frank McCourt, and that's why we're multi-chain, if you will, at this point in time. And it was to, like, give you back your liberties, give you back control and ownership of your own data information. And plus, misinformation, it proliferates this world. And we feel as though if communities who are there when things are happening, and that you have control and ownership of your own information, we have ways to validate the reality of some of this information. So we're trying to create a world. Sure, we're capitalists, of course. I won't admit that we're not. But really, we're just trying to help change the dynamic, change the paradigm in the world where you can own and control something you've created. And also, when it comes to advertising and things like that, MeWe does not do advertising at this point in time. We're privacy-based, we're subscription-based, or freemium, if you will. But we want you to own and control your data and information, and then we'll work together where you can make the choice to share your content with an advertiser and so forth.
I mean, a lot of people in crypto really care about this kind of political message of decentralization, of privacy, these kind of things. Is that a compelling message for the mainstream user, though, do you think?
Yeah, and just to echo what Jeff was saying, this is something we identified really early on with our work with the arena as well. The current social media platforms of Web 2 are very extractive. That's the model. Okay, it's the operators extracting value, extracting data from the users who don't see very little of that. If they do see anything, they normally have to monetize outside of the app. So they have to get like sponsorships and deals. So this in-app monetization, where the platform's not extracting, incentives are aligned between the operators and the users, right, is super compelling. You could be in something early that can really grow, and you can be a part of that as a user, not just in one of hundreds of millions. So I just wanted to start with that. But there is the issue, that is a very compelling narrative, to your point, in Web3. What we found is like the average user in the world doesn't necessarily care about a lot of these ideological concepts around ownership of your data, security around your assets. Like, these things are very important when there's a huge issue that arises, but they don't think about it day to day. They want something that's easy to use, something that solves issues for them, like how do I make more money? How do I connect with people that I care about? How do I engage in content? These are the things that the average person cares about. If you can bring them in with those principles, then you could start sort of red-pilling them, I believe, on the bigger, more important issues. So those are really important talking points for Web3. I don't think Web2 is there just yet, but we are seeing shifts towards that in the world. And the message is getting louder and louder around this sort of monopolistic control of platforms. So it is speeding up.
All right, we only have a couple minutes left. Just give us a roadmap. What's on the plate for the next 6 months?
Well, fortunate enough to have our head of product here and some of our key staff here in the company. So I can let them talk. No, I'm only kidding, just kidding. So it's exciting what we're doing. I mean, we're in the final phases of the migration, which is great, and this multi-chain world. We heard what Gunn said yesterday on stage. He's absolutely true. This has to be an open architecture that's not just like VHS and Betamax back in those days. So on our roadmap, obviously, we have a wonderful ambassador program that we've launched. We've interviewed probably 400, 500 applications. We're down to about 42 people now, and these are half crypto native and half non-crypto native. That's getting launched.
The community groups.
The community groups. We believe that it's super important. If you're living in an echo chamber in this world we're in here of crypto and so forth, you're gonna, if you go to Lens, you go to Farcaster, you broadcast something, you talk about something, and there's nobody there. So we think the key is having the large audiences coming in, and we want to keep that going. our Soshi coin is critical to our future because we have to have our own token, and our partnership with Avalanche has just been fantastic. They're so supportive. We love their ambassador program as well, and we're trying to, model some of what we do. And then we have dozens of dApps, degens, whatever, that want to build on our platform. And as we open up, we invite all of you to build and create apps, wonderful things that you can avail yourselves of millions of people that are on chain. Remember, we have 2 million people that are on chain. When these people get their own embedded wallets, they get crypto, there's going to be huge activity on platform when we turn that on eventually. So love you guys to be a part of it.
Jason?
Yeah, we have an exciting rest of the year on our side as well. The first main thing that we're excited about is right now the Arena is a web app, and this will officially become a mobile app in the App Store, which will broaden our accessibility. I mentioned additional social logins like TikTok and Instagram, so we expect a huge exponential increase in onboarding from Web 2 because of that. In addition to that, we have a bunch of new social features that we're shipping, which will improve the discoverability and the content that you see on this app. In addition to improving all the features we have, one of our biggest upcoming launches is the Arena will have its own Avalanche L1. So we will be our own L1 ecosystem. So your digital ID and your reputation is the base layer, and then dApps are built on top.
Wow.
We have our own app store, and that will roll out with the Arena token being the native gas token. So exciting roadmap ahead, seems, for both of us.
Well, L1 right next to you.
Yeah.
Well, I wish we had longer to talk about this. Thanks so much to the two of you, Jeffrey, Jason. Thanks all for listening.
Thank you,
guys.
Ben. Appreciate it. Thanks, Jason.